Hey, this is Dr. Steve. Here are some kettlebells. How do I choose a kettlebell? What do I look for? What weight do I get? So let's get started. Two basic types of kettlebells. We have our standard kettlebell. So what I mean by standard kettlebell is 8 kilo, 40 kilo. You can see that the kettlebell size differs with the weight of the kettlebell. The 40 kilo kettlebell is a lot larger than the 8 kilo kettlebell. Here we have competition kettlebells. This is a 40 kilo kettlebell. This is a 20 kilo kettlebell. The diameter of the bell, the bottom, handle on the top, bell on the bottom, the diameter of the bell on a competition kettlebell, they're all the same. Whether we get an 8 kilo or a 40 kilo, the size of the bell is going to be the same. The handle size does differ a little bit. The diameter of the handle size, depending on the manufacturer, does differ a little bit, usually by a couple of millimeters, but that can make a significant difference if you're doing, for instance, a lot of snatches. That's the reason I purchased this kettlebell. This kettlebell actually has a 2 millimeter size difference to this kettlebell handle. You'll see that in the competition kettlebell, the handle is straight up and across and down, straight up and across and down. There is a slight difference here in the side to side and up to down spacing here. So for instance, if you're going to use a competition kettlebell to do something like two-handed swings, having a little bit more space is very handy. That said, competition kettlebells are significantly more expensive, and for most people, you're probably not going to go this route. The only thing I will say about competition kettlebells is they are very, very comfortable on the forearm in the rack position. So if you can afford them, getting competition kettlebells is really, really nice to have. Now, that said, let's spend our time with standard kettlebells because that's going to be what most people purchase. So what's important in a standard kettlebell? Number one, the finish. We have the finish. The finish should be the same on the bell and the handle. It should be the same finish. Why is that important? Well, number one, is the bell going to chip? Hopefully you're not clanging your kettlebells together. In gyms, unfortunately, I see this all the time. You can tell which are the better kettlebells because the ones with the better finish really won't chip. This kettlebell is my favorite finish, and if you look in the notes information box below, you can get in touch with me via email, you can call me, you can get in touch with me on social media, and I'll be happy to let you know which bell I like. I am not paid by any of the kettlebell manufacturers. I don't make a dime off any of this, so I will tell you which ones I prefer. But I definitely prefer this finish because it doesn't chip, and it has a little bit of granularity. This one has that glossy finish, which is really not a problem if you're going to deadlift the kettlebell or if you're going to swing the kettlebell. But if you're starting to do a lot of cleans or a lot of snatches, this handle is just going to tear you up and not only give you calluses, which you're going to get if you lift, but it may tear the callus, and that is a big problem. I've been there. It can get very bloody, very messy, makes the next several weeks really difficult to train when you've torn that callus. So I'm not a huge fan of the glossy finish kettlebell because they chip easily and I do not like them for any kettlebell movement where there's rotation, so especially for the snatch. And because I compete in the tactical strength challenge, from time to time I'm doing huge volumes of snatches, and that's a problem with this kind of kettlebell. So this kettlebell has a granular finish. This kettlebell has a granular finish. I prefer this granular finish. Just going to have to play with it and see, get some recommendations from people. Also, the size of the handle. This manufacturer makes a bigger handle starting at the 24 kilo kettlebell all the way up their line to the big boys, even the 48 and above. This manufacturer keeps the handle smaller on the 28, which is significant depending on your hand size. Also, the spacing. Again, side to side, top to bottom. Notice also on the standard kettlebell, the horns. So we have the handle, and this is the horns of the handle. they come out at an angle, and if there's more space and a little more angular, it's a little bit easier to do two-handed work on this type of kettlebell than it will be on this type of kettlebell. So look at the size of your hand, take a look at the manufacturer, and think about what diameter you want. If you really want to work on your grip, I do not have big hands. Having the bigger handle is really handy. I prefer this. I bought this one just because I wanted to try it out. I do like this kettlebell, but I prefer this one, and I prefer their handle sizes. So their handle sizes are a little smaller in the 8 kilo, and then it starts to go up. I don't have a 24 right here, but the handle size increases dramatically in the 24 kilo and up. So we have the finish, we have the handle size and the spacing, and we have the bottom of the kettlebell. You would think this would be a no-brainer to have a flat bottom, but the cheaper kettlebells do not, so they don't sit on the ground. So if you're going to be one of those folks that uses 2 kettlebells and you're going to do those renegade rows or push-ups off the kettlebell, you better have one that is not going to be wobbly on the bottom. So make sure the bottom of the kettlebell is perfectly flat. So finish, handle, bottom of the kettlebell. Kettlebells will come in pounds or in kilos. If you're going to get pounds, stick with all pounds. If you're going to get kilos, stick with all kilos. Inevitably, you'll grab the wrong one. So stick with pounds or stick with kilos. The ones in pounds will come in 5-pound increments. The ones in kilos used to only come in 4 kilo increments, but now many manufacturers have gone to 2 kilo increments, which is about 5 pounds, which is really handy because you have to think about the increments. If you go from a 12 kilo to a 16 kilo, don't think about that in absolute weight. Think about it as a percentage. That is a huge increase. So what weight kettlebell do you get? Well, everywhere I read, men need this and women need that. Well, ladies, there are a lot of you that are really strong. Stronger than a lot of guys. Good for you. Let's throw that out. What kettlebell size do you need? Man or woman, what kettlebell size do you need? Well, are you deadlifting a kettlebell? Are you goblet squatting a kettlebell? Are you swinging the kettlebell? Are you doing a kettlebell Turkish get-up? Are you pressing a kettlebell? Obviously, you are not going to start with the same size kettlebell on your Turkish get-up and your press as the kettlebell you might goblet squat or deadlift. So purchasing at least 2 kettlebells straight away would be really, really nice to have. If you can afford 3 or 4 in those 5-pound or 2 kilo increments, that would be fantastic. So you can use them you can be challenged a little bit with the deadlifts and the goblet squats and have the appropriate weight to press and the appropriate weight to learn to swing, the appropriate weight to learn to clean. Obviously, you're going to get stronger as you train, so hopefully you'll be able to progress up and get a whole set of kettlebells. Again, purchasing at least 2, that would be great to start. Great quality kettlebell. Don't chintz on them. Please don't chintz on those kettlebells. Don't bang the handles together. Take care of your kettlebells. Enjoy them. One-time purchase. They will give you a lifetime of a phenomenal exercise choice. Enjoy using your kettlebells.